Patch 4.0 is going to be changing some things to do with settlement battles, and this is what I'm going to be hoping for in a new series I'm going to call BattleSAYS, not BattleSAYS. I'm going to be discussing the things in which I would love to see CA implement in that patch 4.0, but as we can see on screen now, this is one of my biggest annoyances, and that is that this victory location actually will give you victory tickets towards the battle, meaning that eventually you can actually win the battle and gain enough victory tickets, as this will go all the way green, and you'll win the battle if you just hold this location. We're talking about it from the defender's point of view. That makes it so that you have to and you are forced into defending this location and the victory location itself, as they both provide victory tickets. And this is something that is very frustrating, especially with the garrison sizes that we actually have currently in the game. Generally speaking, I believe in Warhammer 3, the garrison sizes are significantly lower than the most of the games in Total War's existence, and so you're in a situation where you have reduced numbers, and you are in a position where you're having to defend multiple points. So what SFO does well, I believe, is that they make it so that this doesn't give victory tickets, making it so you can actually funnel your forces and defend 1 point. I actually think this is not a problem in the slightest. I do like the fact that the victory location exists and you can actually win from this. It's similar to the way Three Kingdoms does it, and it's like a mechanic that I think works well. But it has its flaws, and one of the flaws I definitely feel like is maps that we currently have in the game are absolutely awesome. They're absolutely massive, and they're really, really awesome, and the art team does a fantastic job. But the main issue that we have there is that they are just too goddamn big. So, for example, in this situation, we have units over here, and we have the victory location all the way over here, because this is where the walls are. So this is where a player or the AI will defend, and logically speaking, you would want to put units onto these walls to defend them from getting in. And once they get too close, you can then start retreating, but you're going to be walking an absolute marathon to get to any of the locations that matter that you want to defend. On the walls, we can see that these towers have a lot of dead zones, and so it's relatively easy to attack on certain locations, because the easiest thing you can do is attack on sides that have the least amount of towers that will shoot on you. And there's always weaknesses on maps akin to this one. There's a lot of other maps that are the same. But another thing that really frustrates me is this is, like I mentioned, this is something that generates victory tickets, and it has so many entrances to get to it. If I'm somebody that's making a settlement and I'm trying to defend something, I will not put weaknesses purposely in my settlements, and this is something that I believe is a definite weakness. Alongside this one, this is my main victory location, and it has tons of entrances to try and get into it. Plus, the main points that you want to be defending as well are very far away. This isn't just an example that is obviously Chaos Dwarves, which is the latest DLC, but it does seem like it's a trend moving across most of the DLCs that are being released in recent times. Next thing I want to discuss is the buildable towers inside the settlements, and I do feel like there may be a slight disconnect between the art team and the team that is actually developing and placing these towers into the maps. Because for me personally, if I'm wanting to utilize a tower like this, I would never position towers that have a ton of dead zones, and as you can see, there are so many positions that this tower will just get basically zero value, because if we just go down here, you can see that if we just move across, this tower is not seeing an awful lot in the slightest way, shape, or form, and the majority of the units that come near it will actually just not be hindered in the slightest. Same to this tower as well. You can just see there's so many things that they will not have visibility towards, and it is a bit of a shame, as the mechanic is awesome, and I love the way that this functions, as it adds so many layers into your defensive positions, because you can defend on the walls, you can then start building up a ton of towers to basically secure your troops' retreats. And it just makes me just feel like they don't fully consider the positioning of these towers when designing settlements, and I think that's something that they should be really focusing on moving past patch 4.0. And to summarize, in patch 4.0, the things that I'd like to be seeing is this location not actually giving any victory tickets, and then the debate between doing either that or increasing the garrison size, because it's either that or having an increased garrison, because both of them are a solution to the problem. Alongside maybe having reduced amounts of entrances to your main points, because oftentimes when I was playing as a Dowie, you used to be able to just sit in a certain corner and just absolutely shoot the snot out of anything that came to you. And I quite like that, because it's very akin to how a siege should be. You will be basically pushed into a corner and you'll defend with everything you have and throw all your might at your enemies. And in these situations, you're spread a little bit too thin. So then that goes towards the buildable locations, It would be nice to have a lot less dead zones and have these towers have a considerable amount more value. You know, when Warhammer 3 first came out, Slanesh towers, Nurgle towers, it didn't really matter that they had dead zones because they were just killing everything so goddamn quickly. But I understand as to why they have been nerfed, and across the board, pretty much all the towers perform very similarly. They may have different types of towers. For example, Greenskins have catapults, whereas the Empire and the Dwarves have cannons and things like that. And obviously, this is just my thoughts on the matter. By all means, please do comment down below what you think, as I'm very curious to hear what you have to say, because the fundamentals is we want sieges to be a little bit better. I think everyone involved wants that to be happening, and so let's have a healthy discussion in regards to that. But this should be something that will help sieges, like I mentioned, giving increased garrisons, taking away the victory locations from here, and stop it from giving victory tickets. And those are the main kickers for me personally. But thank you very much for watching as always. Have a wonderful day, and make sure to check out my other content on the screen now.